as a Senate will be able to go far. And I've said and insisted, as a person who since 2013 was elected, has gone for meetings of security on cattle rustling almost 3 times every year, and sometimes continuously for about 3 to 4 months. I do not believe that this thing has us versus them. I don't think there is ODM or Jubilee or UDA or any other political party or majority or minority side. This is an issue that should unite this House and unite this country to find a lasting solution. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. The next senator is Senator Cherargei, but I thought I watched Cherargei speak.
No, not on this.
Okay. So, Senator Cherargei, Samson Kiprotich.
People there.
Madam Speaker, you should be looking forward for me for being very active in the House. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a few comments, because I don't want to speak a lot. I agree largely with what my colleagues have said. Majority Leader, Senator Murkomen, People's Majority Leader, the future Governor of Siaya, well spoken, I agree. Mutatis Mutandis, Senator Orengo. Mr. Speaker, 2 things. I agree this is very unfortunate that we are discussing this. I remember last week, the House spoke itself, they pronounced themselves, but I want to thank Senator Lilengwe for bringing to the attention this issue. We had one perspective last week, but now we have a second perspective, Madam Speaker. It is unfortunate that the security apparatus in this country are confusing criminal elements for killing cows or livestock. Killing more than 5,000 cattle is unfortunate, Madam Speaker. And also even these things have been reported with the police, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, from where I sit, I agree the issues in Laikipia is not about the use of force and gun and deployment of military or any other or even national police reservice. That is part 1 of solution of the problem. But the underlying issue that we are facing in Laikipia looks like more it's about the ownership and possession of land within Laikipia, Madam Speaker. And I think it is a high time. And I know maybe government wants to play soft diplomacy against the people who own land, especially big ranches, the foreigners. It is good to have foreigners in our country invest because they give us revenue. But it should not be done at the expense of the people who are living in Laikipia. The people living in Laikipia, Madam Speaker, have an opportunity to ensuring, Madam Speaker, that they get where they can take for pastures, Madam Speaker. They can ensure they get a good place for their people, Madam Speaker, and land and place to live, Madam Speaker. But I think as a Senate, Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I want to appeal that let us push for restoration of peace. Then secondly, understand the underlying issues that, like Senator Ledama has taken us to are very expansive issues that really affect the people of Laikipia, Madam Speaker. And we appreciate that Laikipia, even my family members also live in Laikipia, just like you was. So how do we ensure peace is there, number 2? And then, in all honesty, Madam Speaker, address the underlying issues. Finally, Madam Speaker, it is unfortunate, and allow me to read this section of the Constitution, because the senior government officials sitting, especially the people in charge of security, from the CS Interior, the IG, who should be independent as Article 245, Madam Speaker, the DCIO, and many others, I just want to remind them, Article 153.3, that says a cabinet secretary shall attend, it's not say may, shall attend before a committee of the National Assembly or the Senate. It does not say the National Assembly, it also says or the Senate when required by the committee, and answer any question concerning a matter for which the cabinet secretary is responsible. The violation of this, and in the upshot of this, Madam Speaker, is a contempt towards this House. Any cabinet minister, it says, shall appear. And yesterday, Madam Speaker, you pronounced that the CS in charge of energy and petroleum to appear next week on Tuesday. Why is it hard for the CS of Interior to come and brief the nation? And you remember, Madam Speaker, in conclusion, I was collecting signatures to have a special sitting on a matter that was of national importance. The CS of Interior decided to invite himself and do a lifestyle audit in some of the senior leaders in this republic. You have heard even the ADC Mutara that is being mentioned. The person who was purportedly deputy president belongs to, has even said, if that land belongs to me, give to the pastoralists, Madam Speaker. So I want to really appreciate, and you know Article 226, it is very clear that even after you leave that office, Madam Speaker, you are still being capable in what you did in that office at personal level. So even if these people despise Madam Speaker, and we have seen today, Madam Speaker, that courts have convicted a former CS and a former person in charge due to Rio 2016 Olympic scandals. These are issues that we are discussing when you say abuse of office is not following the law that you have been provided. Madam Speaker, I request this issue of Laikipia is so urgent. I request when you pronounce, Madam Speaker, let the CS of Interior Matiang'i appear here, the IG Inspector Mutiambai, DCIO, and all senior security officers, and even CS for lands to appear before this House as a committee of the all on either Wednesday or Thursday next week. And all senators, we can come and critique and analyze. And I can assure Kenyans who are seeing us, Madam Speaker, that they will not be disappointed if the Senate of the all will hold this committee. And the Committee of National Security should not get worried. They know they have a lot of heavy schedule, but we are trying to lighten their burden. I thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity.
Thank you. I'll give Mohammed Malim. Thereafter, Senator Agnes Kabindu online.
Thank you.
She already spoke. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. First of all, let me say this statement request by Senator Lengwe is a very serious matter. Madam Speaker, the question raised by the Senator is actually pointing to a fact that animals are being, in fact, all the issues you have mentioned here are supposed to have been committed by police, security forces, people who are supposed to actually deal with, provide security to the people of Kenya. Madam Speaker, last week on Monday, this week on Monday, I and other members of the Committee of National Security went to Laikipia. And in fact, on the, as a result of the question raised by our colleague from Laikipia, we went there and visited some places. In fact, the question then, which was coming to our attention from Wananchi, is that they are being attacked by people from across, the neighboring country of Baringo.
Second last.
But then the police were all over the place. At least some semblance of security was maintained in that place. But the people were pointing to a fact that there is, a conservancy somewhere there called Laikipia Nature Conservancy, which is actually a den of a lot of problems. A very big conservancy where nobody can enter, where a lot of animals are supposed to be inside, owned by, very big people in this country. And even the ones that are stolen are taken inside there. Military people are inside there, guarding I don't know what. In fact, the stories you get are really very disturbing. So, in fact, at least I was happy that some semblance of security was restored. The people have gone back to their homes, and the schools were reopening. It's surprising now again, this one is coming again from the other side of the county, that the police are actually now, profiling the pastoralists and trying to kill the animals. This is very serious. In fact, this question is not talking about the Wananchi fighting themselves. It's talking about the police fighting the people. It's talking about the police killing animals. This is a very serious matter. Madam Speaker, it's totally unacceptable. In fact, as I said by my colleagues, we are not going to pit Kenyans against Kenyans, but it's the country, the government is supposed to provide security to Kenyans, and they must deal with this matter. Laikipia borders about 4 counties. I think the Siolo on one side, Baringo on the other side, and Nyandarua. Samburu. And all these people, because in that environment, I think there must be some discussion on how to live together. But the issue of big conservancies in the name of, some wazungus, where, animals are not able to, I think when the leases are ending, we must be coming with a solution where we are going to actually revert back to Kenya, to Kenyans, so that, we are going to have people graze their animals. But I think there must be, point of order?
What's your point of order, Senator Ledama?
I'm sorry, Madam Speaker. It's actually a point of information. And I would like
Does he want to be informed?
That's what I'd like to ask my brother.
Okay, it's okay, man.
Actually, Madam Speaker, the leases lapsed. And cleverly, they were renewed without the people, the indigenous people, interest being taken into consideration. Those leases lapsed. When you go back to the history, those leases were signed in 1904, they lapsed. And now we asked very pertinent question. Why is it that when this list is lapped, the original inhabitants of the land were not considered for even a portion of the land? This is the thing that really pains me, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, I think I will suggest then, because as a committee, when we were on the side, we said we are going to make a report and also invite the Minister of Interior here to go through this. But what's coming from the members now, we would like to take the way we did with energy yesterday, that the security ministry must be invited, the committee of the whole, to take us through this, so that we can have both the questions from Lilengwe and from my colleague from Samburu and from Ndiritu, and the issues raised here to be canvassed properly, so that we deal with this matter, in a very serious matter. I thank you. I will be able to inform, of course, my colleague Fatuma is from that committee. We are only two here, but we'll tell the chair so that that matter is done. I think we can direct that early next week we have these people here, so that we can look at this matter in a very serious matter. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Mahmoud. I think he has given us a bit of direction, being a member of the committee. So I expect the next contributions to be very short. Let's shorten now that members of the committee are ready to deal with the matter alongside the other matter. Senator Wario Kolich Juma.
Asante Bi Speaker kwa kunipatia nafasi hii. Bi Speaker, kwa kweli arifa hii imetoka wakati mwafaka kabisa. Kwa kweli wakati huu ni wakati wa kiangazi kuu ambao wafugaji wanapata shida na mifugo yao. Na hali vile ilivyo huko Laikipia ni hali ya kutatanisha zaidi. Na maafisa wa polisi ambao wako pande hiyo wamefanya hali hiyo kuwa ngumu zaidi kuliko kurahisishia watu ya Laikipia, kwa sababu wakati ngombe halaiki 5,000 itauawa na askari wa Kenya. Hiyo ni hali ngumu, sababu wafugaji wakati huu mnajua hali yao ni ngumu. Na Bi Speaker, hebu angalia ngombe 5,000 ni kama shilingi milioni 200 ambazo zimepotea, na shilingi milioni 200 ni pesa mingi sana kwa wafugaji, hasa wakati huu wa kiangazi. Bi Speaker, kwa kweli mimi sijui askari ya Kenya wamefundishwa namna gani, kwa sababu ingekuwa wangesaidia wafugaji wakati huu, lakini sio kuwa halaiki ya ngombe. Pande hiyo ya Tana River saa hii hali ni ngumu zaidi, na pia kushida ambayo inafanana na hiyo inakumba wafugaji, sababu kiangazi ni ngumu, malisho ni haba, hata mahali pa kupata maji, hasa pande ya Galana Kulalo ambao project ya serikali inafanyika, ngombe wanashindwa kufikia mto wa Sabaki, sababu kuna mradi wa serikali unafanyika pande hiyo, basi haki haipatikani. Hali inafanana kama ile ya Laikipia, sababu mifugo hawapati mahali pa malisho, na kwenda kupata maji pia ni ngumu, sababu kuna project ya serikali inafanyika ya food security, na hakuna food security inafanyika pande hiyo. Bi Speaker, ni ukora mtupu, sababu wakati utasema ni food security na hakuna kitu inafanyika, na watu hawawezi kufikia mto kupeleka ngombe yao maji, basi hiyo itakuwa unamaliza watu na hali hiyo kuitatanisha zaidi. Bi Speaker, sisi wakati huu tunataka waziri hasa afike hapa kwa Seneti. Ninaunga mkono wenzangu senators waliotangulia, aje atueleze hasa ni nini inafanyika huko Laikipia, na pia katika arifa hiyo ongeze vile watu wa Tana River wanaweza fikia mto Sabaki waweze kupata maji ya ngombe yao, na wao waweze kupata maji, sababu hatuwezi peleka project ya serikali mahali ili watu ambao wanalisha pande hiyo wawe wanapata shida kupitia hivyo. Na hasa hivi majuzi rais wa Kenya alitangaza hiyo kiangazi ya Tana River kama disaster ya national, na kama hali hiyo itakuwa hivyo, basi watu waruhusiwe waingie katika Savo East Park waweze kulisha mifugo yao, kwa sababu pande hiyo kuna nyasi, na wale watu ambao wako karibu na kuishi karibu na hiyo park, ng'ombe zao zinaisha bila kupata lishe mzuri. Asante, ninaunga mkono arifa ambayo imetolewa na Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you. Senator Milgo, Alice Chepkorir.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance to support this statement from Senator Lelegwe. And I want to say, actually, this is a very serious matter which should be addressed as a matter of urgency. Madam Speaker, recently the President of the Republic of Kenya declared drought as a national disaster, and our worry was in the pastoral areas, shortage of grass and water is going to kill cows. It is quite unfortunate that we are hearing the fact that security men went out instead of protecting our people, they are going ahead to kill cows themselves. And in this case, this is actually destroying the livelihoods of these pastoralist people. Madam Speaker, the issues of this pastoralist region, the issues in the North Rift, I think Kerio Farley, we have had Parinko, we've had Laikipia, and various areas suffering from this conflict, Madam Speaker. And this has gone on year in, year end. We are speaking to it today, and if no serious stand or strategy is undertaken, we shall be speaking about this. It is put to rest. For the last several years, we've been hearing about these conflicts taking place, and nobody ever solves it. It actually escalates when it is nearing electioneering period. We do not know whether people are using this to settle scores with their opponents, or they are just by sheer chance. But what it is that I think the Land Commission is also to blame, because when we have chunks and chunks of land, I think I heard the senator of Turkana saying, normally the pastoralists find that there are people who have fenced up large chunks of land, there is a lot of grass, and in this and for that matter, cows cannot be allowed to just die when somebody is leaving idle land and there is grass. Madam Speaker, I heard about the 15,000 acres being spoken to as being ADC farm. I think instead of wasting a lot of money in Kulalo irrigation scheme, which has since its inception, it has never produced any food, I think those particular areas should be used to grow grass for this particular pastoralist, so that right now we could, in this case, be distributing the grass. In addition to that, we should have the National Drought Management Authority to go out and drill water for this particular pastoralist, so that we do not have that conflict, because conflict comes as a result of looking for pasture as well as looking for water. As Madam Speaker, I think the Interior Ministry should come out clean and explain to this House why the security men, instead of going to protect property and the people, went ahead to actually destroy property, went ahead to cause more conflict, and I think by so doing, that conflict is not going to end in the near future, Madam Speaker. This is a challenge. I think yesterday we were talking about petroleum, which was so much of a challenge, which is affecting the livelihoods of our people, and this is another matter that should be brought to the House of the Whole, so that we can speak to these matters once and for all. And I think we should have the Land Ministry also speaking to this, to tell us what is happening to chunks and chunks of land that are actually kept in that particular area, while pastoralists have been pushed and pushed until eventually they have got nowhere to keep their huts. Madam Speaker, I support this statement, and I hope a solution will be found. That is, a lasting solution will be found once and for all. Thank you, and I thank the Senator for bringing this statement.
Thank you very much. Bomet and Bomet, why don't we have Senator Sakaja in between the two Bomets? He will take 3 minutes.
I won't take long.
You know, Sakaja is to the point always.
We might have a Bomet overdose. And the people of Bomet will be shocked. Madam Speaker, I just want to say a few things. First, serious and deep condolences to people who've lost their lives during this time in Laikipia, and those who've lost their property. Livestock is property as well. We have cyclic problems in this country, and many times, Madam Speaker, you know, they say, I think it's Albert Einstein who said, trying to do the same thing the same way and expecting different results is the height of insanity, Madam Speaker. I remember in the last parliament when I chaired the Committee of Cohesion and Equal Opportunities, Madam Speaker, we went to Baragoi, we went to Maralal, we went to Lokwar, Nakusa, and Turkana, all these places on the same exact issues. I've heard Senator of Tana River speaking, and in fact, I remember even coming to Tana River, and it was so painful that they're talking about drought, yet there's a very big river, Tana, just flowing past. We've never been able to take advantage of that. If you go to Kipini, and you see the gushes of, liters, millions of liters of that river flowing into the sea, into the ocean, yet people are dying of hunger, there's something wrong with us. It cannot be 10 years and more years where every year we'll talk about drought in this country. So, Madam Speaker, something must be done. Number two, really, because I was following the proceedings, Madam Speaker, I think it is very unfortunate how we allowed this to degenerate into, lambasting the Committee on Security. Madam Speaker, I've chaired that committee for 2 years, and I know the work in that committee is not easy. I think every member in this House is able in any committee. There's no committee that, Madam Speaker, has less able members. We need to support them in the work they're doing. Madam Speaker, when we berate each other, the people of the counties where the chair is coming from, for instance, are listening. And we're trying to tell them the senator is useless. Madam Speaker, I think it is very unfair, and we need to have a habit of having frequent kamkunjis. Some things we can discuss internally, but not in front of the people. I have confidence, and Senator Mahmood has told us what they tried to do before and the angle that has come out today. Madam Speaker, livestock is property as well. The biggest issue that I'm seeing coming out, which is very dangerous, and I think Senator Lelegwe has brought it out, when there's a section in this country of people who feel that their lives or their livelihoods, their way of living, is seen to be below par from other people's way of living, then you're courting disaster. Madam Speaker, it cannot be that a section of Kenyans feel that because they are livestock farmers, that the government does not care for them. In the same way we've seen coffee farmers, maize farmers being given subsidies, being given seeds, being given fertilizer, livestock farmers must also, Madam Speaker, be given water, be given grass during the time that they're going through. They are also as Kenyan as everybody else. A first-class country can never have a second-class citizen, Madam Speaker. And I think that is an angle we need to look at very seriously. Madam Speaker, finally, I just want to say that nothing in this House is done in vain. Madam Speaker, we must have confidence in the actions of our committees and the actions of this House. It cannot be, and I'm glad that we've said, and it has been said in a very resolute manner, that the CS must come, that this House just talks about issues and then it is swept under the carpet. Madam Speaker, I have just come back from, I was in Korogosho right now, with actually somebody, Ledama will be very interested in, the president of the Toronto Raptors, called Masai Ujiri, and we were launching some basketball court. But after that, I decided to take a walk in Kariobangi and Korogosho, and the Wananchi, all of them are telling me, please, we have faith in you and in the Senate that you can address this issue of mafuta, Madam Speaker. If the public have such confidence in us, the people of Samburu and people of Laikipia have confidence in us, Madam Speaker, we cannot be the ones exuding inferiority complex in terms of our capacity. The issue of fuel, we will sort out. We must sort out. This issue of Laikipia, we must sort out. We must believe in ourselves as a House before expecting Kenyans to believe in ourselves. And we cannot let any individual, any institution, any ministry try to tell us any less than what Article 96 and 95 tells us in terms of our role. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support this statement.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Langat, Christopher Andrew.
I say, thank you, Madam Speaker, for also giving me this opportunity to make my contribution on this very important statement from the Senator from Laikipia. I want to say, Madam Speaker, that this is the right House to do this.
You are addressing the one of the Senator of Samburu.
I'm actually addressing you. This is the right House to address this particular issue. So I want to say that the way these things are happening, unless we handle it with a lot of care, it can degenerate to ethnic clashes. Because, Laikipia is a fully cosmopolitan county. And if the government does not handle this issue seriously, it can lead to more problems. Because, Madam Speaker, you see, as Senator Ledama was saying, the government has failed for a long time to address the actual problem that is causing these other issues. What the government is doing is providing painkillers or massaging the issue, going to make a conflict between the crop farmers and the livestock farmers. That will not bring a solution. Going there to kill 5,000 livestock, that will not bring the solution to the problem. So I want to say that, first of all, we must stand as the Senate to make sure that the government compensate those particular farmers. They must compensate them. That is an immediate solution to that problem. But the long-lasting solution, Madam Speaker, is that the government must address the land issues, the historical injustices that has affected that particular place for a long time. How could a government renew the leasing agreements without involving the locals? I've heard also in Kericho and Bomet that the same government has renewed the leasing agreements, which was done in the 19th century, between, instead of actually conducting the locals. Say that those particular owners of the tea plantations have renewed the lease agreement for how many years again without involving the locals. And now the locals are suffering. They don't have lands, yet that was their original land. So I must agree with Senator Ledama that the land issue must be addressed. The historical injustices of the land must be addressed. Can you see this particular scenario in Laikipia, Madam Speaker? Those particular whites, those great owners of those ranches, they have fenced their land with electricity without even counting these 5,000 cattle that have suffered through these particular areas' works of the police. First of all, their cattle have been dying because of, one, the animals have been attacking them and no compensation has been taking place. Number two, most of these animals are always killed through electrocution. They die, and the government and those particular people have never compensated them. So I must say, these people must be compensated. That is one. Number two, historical land injustices must be addressed effectively by the government. Number four, provision of water. You see, another issue is simple lack of water in those particular places. So I must say, the government must make sure that they provide water so that this particular water might not become a source of conflicts. And lastly, the issue of those ranches that they are profiled, that they belong to some people. In fact, I am happy that the Deputy President had said that if some people are thinking that I have got a ranch there, let it be given to the locals by the government. When the Minister for Security or Interior comes here and profile people based on the property they have without using proper information that they have, that is very wrong. So I am proposing that the whole House must face the Minister of Interior so that particular person may answer effectively the question from all of us concerning those particular issues affecting the people in Laikipia. Otherwise, we are not happy because the situation is almost degenerating to ethnic conflicts, which we want to avoid at all costs. So I support Senator from Laikipia for bringing this particular
From
Samburu for bringing this particular statement. It is very important because somehow I've seen actually that those particular soldiers, the security personnel, are sidelining some communities. You see, when they go there and instead of providing security, they kill the animals. That is making the situation worse. So it is very important that we make it a committee of the whole so that the Minister for Interior comes here and settle this matter once and for all. And I'm shocked, I want to repeat what I said last week, that the minister is so fast in actually sending the security personnel to funeral, to protect who, instead of sending to such sensitive areas. In fact, the proactive measures are not there. They just wait until things goes to us, and then they react. I was surprised when we were in the funeral of Senator Prengei, by the way. We were surprised that while we were in the middle of the service, we saw 4 lorries with general service personnel being dropped in a place where there is no insecurity. Everybody was peaceful, people were mourning, and then all of a sudden, they sent those particular people instead of sending them to Laikipia. I tend to think the minister actually is not addressing this issue effectively, and he should come and answer a loud question in this particular house. I support that particular statement, Madam Speaker, and really the minister must come here. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Argura Kodana.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this statement by Senator Dr. Legwe on the unfair treatment of members of Samburu community living in Laikipia and their malicious killing of their livestock. Madam Speaker, one problem I've seen with us Kenyans is that we conveniently want to forget history and start as if things happened yesterday. Madam Speaker, these are historical issues, and in fact, the better part of last evening and even this morning up to now was in a meeting trying to handle submission of historical land injustices which communities are submitting to NLC. And this has been the case we have been having. These are historical facts that these areas were pastoralist areas. And when the colonialists came with their mentality of what they call that land doesn't belong to anybody, or they call terra nulli, they came in and took the land and dispossessed these pastoralists. And the pastoral way of life is something which was despised very much by the colonialists. I can remember the case of Marsabit. When they came to Marsabit Mountains, they found the Rendile herders there with their camels. But they thought that that's a backward way of using the land, and they chased them out and brought in farmers from other parts, even outside these countries, and settled them there. And those are the kind of injustices we are having now. But this case of Laikipia, the livestock keepers, the way we normally live is you leave a part of your land, the better part for livestock grazing during the dry season, the fallback areas. Laikipia happen to be the fallback areas of Samburus. But you see, you don't occupy your land always. The problem with the non-pastoralists is that for you to call a land yours, you must be settled there and your heart must be there. It's not that way. You have to divide your land. There are areas you come when the drought is biting. That's when you fall back there. And Laikipia look like a fallback area. But unfortunately, you'll find when the colonialists came, they divided the land. They preferred pastoralist agricultural way of life to pastoralism. Now it has even gone further. Wildlife conservation is preferred to livestock keeping. Because you'll find if you overfly that area, large tracts of land are just fenced. The only thing you just see is the fence, and there's nothing with a few wildlife roaming the area. This time round, if there was a proper understanding, there should have been a way of allowing the pastoralists to graze in these conservancies during the dry season, because it doesn't occur always. It's only during the dry season. If there's a mechanism that to recognize that these people were here before, even if you have grabbed their lands, you should at least assist them during the dry season, not fencing off your land, putting electric fence, then you keep some few elephants inside there for the tourists to come and see, while the owners of those land are dying next to it with the animals. And that's what is happening now. Now it has reached a point where it's now Kenyans who are being forced against each other. It's the pastoralists coming, and the only land they are finding is the land where the other Kenyans are farming. That's where the conflict is coming from. These pastoralists were deflected from their lands through large tracts of land being grabbed by colonialists, leases extended, and then you say that is private land. I mean, you have to start from somewhere. Where was that land before it became private? It belonged to a community, and that community is still alive and is still practicing pastoralism. That is why always during the dry season you'll find those pastoralists there, because a pastoralist cannot watch his animal die when there's grass across the fence. And that's what we are experiencing. So the government needs to treat this in a very holistic manner, and the conservationists need to open up their conservancies to the originals of those land so that they can graze during the dry season. We don't want to carry the land or anything and occupy the way they are occupying for nothing. They should allow grazing during the dry season. Even in government parks, I'm sure sometimes they allow the communities to graze when it's the drought is biting. Then when it rains, they retreat and go back to the areas, and the conservancy area, the grass will generate again. But, Madam Speaker, I think the government need to address this issue totally. The CS need to come, and this issue need to be addressed totally so that we don't ignore facts and then now use force to deny people their rights without giving alternatives, without understanding that these people have to be allowed to graze, because that's what we do. Like, I'm from Marsabit, but during the dry season, our animals are in Samburu because their environment is better than ours. We cross into Samburu, we graze there, we go back. The same thing when it's dry, because Samburu, when they experience drought, they have cattle, they move into Laikipia. As we have camel, goats, and sheep, we move into Samburu. Their weather is better than ours. So that way, there must be that understanding. Otherwise, I support the statement, and I think that government have to be practical. History has to be taken into account. These are part of the historical land injustices we are addressing. They have to be addressed, and no life needs to be lost when there is enough land. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Samson Ongeri online. Then I'll come to Senator Malala. Senator Ongeri. Senator Ongeri, we can't hear you. Senator Malala, can you make your contribution, because we want to wind up? When Ongeri comes in, we will
Thank you.
let him in.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to support the statement by the good Senator, Senator Ilegwe, on the issue of insecurity in Laikipia County. Madam Speaker, these are of national importance, and therefore we must take keen interest in these matters as a Senate, and as a people's representative, we must make sure that we handle this matter to a logical conclusion, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as we speak right now, there are several families which have been displaced. There are several families which have lost their loved ones. There are several farmers and pastoralists who have lost their animals and livestock, Madam Speaker, and therefore it is important for us, Madam Speaker, when we deal with this matter, we deal with this matter with the seriousness it deserves. I want to join my colleagues in saying that we need to call the relevant officers who are handling this matter. The CS Interior must appear before this House, Madam Speaker, and not just before a security committee. No, this matter is a matter of national importance, and I would suggest that this matter be handled in a committee of the whole House, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is sad that the very people who are supposed to be protecting the livestock and the people of Laikipia are the people who are tormenting and killing the same animals, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we need to bring those officers to book, and they need to be accountable of their action, Madam Speaker. This is the only way we are going to stop this menace, Madam Speaker. Since 2016, the Pokots, the Samburus, the Maasais have lost almost 5,000 livestock, Madam Speaker. This is unacceptable. As Senator Sakaja has said, livestock is property, and every citizen of this country has the right to have his property secured by government, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I've seen efforts by the national government trying to ensure that they implement the security policies in Laikipia. The other day, through a Gazette notice, I think on September 9th, they gazetted a new sub-county. That is a good step, Madam Speaker, because a sub-county means that we shall have
better services and functions of the national government nearer the people of Laikipia. But will we be reactional on every problem we have as a country, Madam Speaker? Madam Speaker, it means that next time when we have a problem in Kakamega County, then Matiang'i will run there with a sub-county and give the people of Kakamega. It means that next year when people in Siaya County will be fighting about maybe the resources like fish, then the Siaya people will be given a sub-county, Madam Speaker. We need to stop being reactionary on issues, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was listening pensively to the CS Interior, Matiang'i. He was trying to put blame on politicians. I want to ask Matiang'i to stop wanting to put blame on people who are not the cause of this thing. Let him concentrate on his work. The issue of him standing in any function and wanting to demean politicians. I want to remind Matiang'i that politicians are elected leaders. We are leaders elected by our people to represent them. And therefore, you do not have the monopoly of demeaning us in public functions. Madam Speaker, it is very serious. The other day I saw him addressing people in Laikipia, saying that kuna watu washenzi hapa wanajifanya wanasiasa kwa sababu wana incite watu. Matiang'i, listen to us. We are elected leaders. Address us with respect. The respect we deserve, Madam Speaker. Because we represent our people. We have the right to talk to our people. Today, Senator Lelegwe has brought an issue affecting his people to the Senate. So why should you then go to a public function and want to try and demean the very person who is trying to help his people? And therefore, the recent political arrests, Madam Speaker, are not giving us a solution to this matter. I want to call upon the relevant agencies, the prosecutory organs of this Republic of Kenya, Madam Speaker, to delve deep into this issue and stop hiding behind politicians. We have been elected by our people. For what reason would Senator Olekina be wanting to kill his people or livestock of Narok? Senator Olekina has got the interest of the people of Narok. To what interest would Senator Orengo be having to disadvantage the people of Siaya? To what interest would Senator Malala be having to kill and torment his people, Madam Speaker? And therefore, it is important for government to know that when you are doing a political arrests, you are not sorting out the problem and you are not uprooting the very, very cause of this reason. And therefore, it is important, and I still insist, Madam Speaker, the national intelligence has failed us. Because, Madam Speaker, up to now, we are not even sure on what is causing the skirmishes in Laikipia. We don't know if it's the 2022 elections. We don't know if it's the problem of the rich versus the poor, because I've been told that there is a very sharp rift between the white settlers and the pastoralists, Madam Speaker. We need to address this issue. Let the national intelligence tell us what is the root cause before we start running around arresting politicians, creating sub-counties, making public pronouncements that are not helping us sort out this matter. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I want to take this opportunity lastly to thank the senator who has brought this statement. Senator Lelegwe, you have the interest of your people at heart. And I want to tell the people of Laikipia today that, and Samburu in general, as a community, that you have a person who cares for you, who thinks about you, and who has the best interest for your community at heart. And therefore, Senator Lelegwe, you have shown us the way. We shall also stand behind you and insist that this matter must be sorted out once and for all. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Finally, Senator John Kinyua online.
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
Madam Speaker, I want to add my voice on that
See
statement.
your face.
Madam Speaker, my network is bad. If I put on the video, I lose it. Madam Speaker, if you allow me to continue.
Do the video, we see your face, and then you can switch.
Madam Speaker, I am in Muruti where that issue happened. first I want to thank the security committee because they visited Laikipia and they went to Ormoran. They went to a place called Wangwashi.
Senator Kinyua, members want to see your face. Just put on the camera.
Madam Speaker, my camera is on. Madam Speaker.
How come we're not seeing you?
I don't know what's wrong with it because, Madam Speaker, my camera is on. I put it on.
You know, our rules are that we must see you so we know where you are.
I'm saying I'm in Rumuruti, Madam Speaker.
There are so
And
many
my camera is
places
on.
in Rumuruti. We want to know exactly where you are, whether you are seated or you are on a camelback or something.
No, I'm not on a Camelbank, Madam Speaker. I'm in a place called Marura, where this thing happened, Madam Speaker. And my camera is on.
We cannot see you, and they cannot pick your camera. And I'm seeing.
I don't know why, Madam Speaker.
And I'm already seeing points of order on how you are communicating to us. So we will leave it. You wait for. Yeah, wait. You wait for what we are about to decide, then you can be able to come and contribute.
But Madam Speaker, I just wanted to say that the Committee of Security came to Laikipia.
No, Senator Kinyua, we can't. Honorable members, we have listened to a good number of members because this was a very, very important statement. And the statement stands committed to the committee, the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations. We are also aware that the same committee has been to the same area following the statement that came from Senator Kinyua. I would like, therefore, to rule as follows: that the committee takes this new statement and adds to the previous statement so that we are able to get something more comprehensive. I'd like to give the committee up to Thursday. Then on Thursday, the interactive session between the House, as requested by all members, between the House and the security agents should be done. So you have, as a committee, you have between now and Thursday and Wednesday, and then on Thursday, let's have a session, a full house session with the security teams. It's so ordered. Thank you. Point of order from Senator Orengo.
Mr. Speaker, since we continue to have problems summoning CSS to sessions, and we are told, in fact, before this very committee, they were unsuccessful in getting the CS. For purposes of this matter, can a summon be sent to the CS instead of an invitation? Yes. Yeah, so that we don't just propose a meeting for Thursday, and we are not sure that they will come. In the circumstances in which there has been no compliance, I think it's important that they are actually summoned to appear. Otherwise, this matter may drag on for another month or so.
Thank you. That's well noted. Another point of order from Olakina, Dadam.
Madam Speaker, I also wanted to put in my 2 cents on this matter, and particularly on the issue of summoning. Now that we know practically, as per the rules and our standing orders, we have to give 7 days notice to be able to summon anyone to appear before the House. Would I suggest that you give directions and summons be sent for the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Interior and all the other security operators and the others who are requested by this House to appear before this House on a full House committee on Friday, because by then we would have been able to comply with the law. Friday. If it's 7 days, If you count 7 days, it will be, even if he served tomorrow, it will be Friday. I'm not so sure. You can look at the numbers.
Mohammed Malik?
Yes, Madam Speaker. In fact, I was going to take the same line my colleague has taken. From the chair, I think you could instruct that the security team led by the CS appear before the whole House, but also just on Thursday. I think because the matter is very serious, we can see how the 7 days period can be waived. But I think it's important that that instruction comes from the chair, so that instead of waiting for the security committee to invite him and summon him, matters as serious as it is, I think if it's possible, the chair directs, and that direction is followed by a letter from the clerk, of course. Then between now and that time, we can see what we can do as a committee.
Honorable Senators, summons in our standing orders are very clear. And we know how emotive this discussion was. It almost divided us in the House. So we don't want to break any of that. If you will accept, let's invite them to come on Thursday. Should they fail to come, then we can do the summons. And that will be on, alternatively, if we are going to do the summons, then it would have to be Friday. Yes.
Madam Speaker, indeed what you're saying is true. Summonses normally, according to our standing orders, are issued when the ministers fail to appear on a certain matter more than twice. But Madam Speaker, instead of using that word, if you direct that the minister appear at this and this date, it is not a summon, but it's a direction from your chair which must be followed. But the issue of summonses, in fact, I know many are really hesitant for that to be on their record, that they have been issued with summonses if they have been appearing before the committee. If you just give direction, Madam Speaker, that on this date, the Cabinet Secretary must appear and the IG before this committee on this matter, it will serve the same purpose. I think, yeah.
Yes, Senator Olekina.
Madam Speaker, we were earlier informed by a member of the Security Committee, Senator Linturi, that the CS has refused to appear before their committee. In fact, on other matter, he read clearly a letter which was written by a staffer in the office that the CS was busy with other matters. So this issue is very clear, Madam Speaker. You know, as per the Constitution, we have been referred back to the Constitution, I think it was Article 153, that even if there are rules, you know, let's issue these summons, let them appear here. Because once they appear here, we can be able to deal with that matter. The only time they will appear here is when Kenyans are going to see that we're dealing with this matter seriously. And we get it from your seat, Madam Speaker. You're very powerful. So direct, or we issue those summons, and we make sure that we can resolve these problems affecting Kenyans.
Senator Dandulo, then I'll come to Rengo. Senator Dandulo.
Madam Speaker, in as much as this matter is very sensitive, of course the issues of summon is very clear in standing orders. I would support the position given by Senator Sakaja to give directive to the minister to appear before the committee. I thank you.
Yes, Senator Rengo.
Madam Speaker, a directive of Speaker is not a constitutional instrument. It's just you speaking from the chair. It can apply to members. But out there is either invitation or a summons. And the reason why I'm saying summons, there's been an invitation already which has not been complied with on the same issue. It is not on another issue, it's on the same issue. And they have said, because of exigencies of duty, Senator Linturi, Linturi was here. Yeah, and as a member of the committee.
No, Senator, let's get information from...
But, Madam Speaker, the other thing which is very important.
Yeah.
Suppose we were in war. what would you do? I mean, by the time you invite him twice for him to refuse, then you summon, the matter would already have elapsed, life would have moved on. We must create circumstances where the Senate can intervene at the right time. And I can assure you that this matter, if you don't deal with it within the next 7 days, then let's just deal with it as an ordinary business without expressing any kind of urgency. I'm beginning to feel, Madam Speaker, that we're becoming more and more toothless. Yes. This parliament are becoming totally toothless. Yes. And even summoning a minister, it looks such a difficult thing to do. What I'm beginning to feel, I have never seen a situation where we have had a whole debate how helpless members themselves were saying we are useless. I feel that Parliament must have full authority on this matter. And Senator Lelegwe, the statement could not wait for another week. It had to come now. Yes. So I plead with you, unless we want Parliament just be a talking shop, that this matter is so serious, and already the committee has been there, the minister has been invited, he says exigencies of duty, he will come on another day, unspecified day. I think this is the time for you to put your foot down and say you'll appear. If he doesn't appear, it will not be our problem. It will be his problem because we know how to deal with it. And I know the courts sometimes were very hesitant about punishing ministers for non-compliance, but they're now doing it. And non-compliance with a summons is a constitutional violation because it's a right that flows from the law. It can be a basis for
I think, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, just information.
The matter which Senator Linturi referred to actually was not on this matter. The minister was invited for a meeting of joint sitting of the National Security Committee and JLAC to discuss matters of boundaries. So it's not true that we invited him for this matter and they declined to come. Much as serious as this, it was not the same matter. In fact, that matter was a different one, which was the joint sitting of both committees of security and legal affairs. Thank you. But I still think that what Sakaja said, maybe direction from the chair is very strong. I don't know.
Honorable Senators, I said the difference was 1 day. Whether the committee was going to be available on Friday for the summons and whether members would be available on Friday. And we know what our Fridays are. So really, it's us who will not be available on the Friday because a lot of us move. So call it direction. Even what I gave earlier was a direction, by the way. That we invite, let him come or not come on the Thursday, so that we don't go beyond Thursday. We want a day when all members are available. And then we'll be able to handle it from there. I think that does not reduce the powers of the committee, neither does it reduce the powers of the House. So I would like to still persuade you to accept my earlier ruling that we invite the minister to come on Thursday, or what did we say? Direct the minister to appear on Thursday, because Friday is going to be a problem. Alternatively, we move to the next week. Yes, Senator Olegina.
Madam Speaker, my only challenge with the direction is that if we invite the Cabinet Secretary and he failed to appear with the security apparatus and they failed to appear on Thursday, it means that for us to summon and to compel his appearance, we have to give him 7-day notice. So the only time that he can be able to appear will be the next Friday or the other week. So this issue of invitation, and Madam Speaker, let's just divorce our interest from the interest of the people. We might have an interest with the Interior Ministry or the security operators in this country, but this time we are dealing with the issue of people whose livelihood is being affected. So I would like to beseech you that we don't dilly-dally on this matter. We proceed and issue summons. Let's deal with this matter. It's a matter of national security. If the president himself can declare the drought issue in Laikipia and countrywide as a national security, the issue of our cows being killed, people living without, Madam Speaker, there are people who cannot go to school. We want sanity.
Senator
So
Ledama.
I really would like to plead with you that instead of dilly-dallying, let us move ahead and someone, let him appear on Friday. We will come here. We are elected to represent the people. What business will we have going to the grassroots if we cannot be able to deal with a matter of national concern? So I really would like to plead with you that instead of wasting our time, let us issue the summons because invitations will not be honored.
Honorable Senators, the issue was, do we summon him to come on Friday? And the question was whether the members will be here for Friday. I think that is what we are saying. That because Friday becomes tricky for most members, and we don't want, again, to fail the same public by not appearing on the Friday. Fridays have been a disaster for our committees. So the question was, do we do that or we invite him, direct him to come on the Thursday, and then if he doesn't come, then we deal with it. Because I can see the consensus is, I had already directed, and please let's stick to that. Let's invite on Thursday, yes? As Senator, whether you direct or somebody who has the intentions of not coming will not come. In your own words, But that's why I'm saying, can we allow, yes? Yes.
Madam Speaker, it matters how that directive is given. If you from there announce that this House directs that the minister appears on Thursday before a committee of the whole, is different from the chair of the committee issuing an invitation. It has happened before. There's been precedents. Remember the day when the senators were arrested?
Yeah.
Within 2 hours, Matiang'i was here. Okay? Who? The day when the senators were arrested. Eh? I'm talking about both sides. He came. We are arguing on different things. I'm saying
I think,
instruction from there actually is weightier than instruction committee issuing it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's release that instruction from the Speaker's hand that the security apparatus appear on Thursday. Let's deal with it at that time, 10 o'clock, and appear before the whole House. Thank you. Next statement is pursuant to Standing Order 52-1. The Senate Majority Leader to issue a statement on the business of the Senate for the week commencing Tuesday, 21st September 2021. Senator Dulo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 52-1, I hereby present to the Senate the business of the Senate for the week commencing Tuesday, 21st September 2021. Before I proceed with the statement, allow me to take this opportunity to thank all honorable senators for passing 5 bills yesterday, Wednesday, 15th September 2021, which are now being prepared for transmission to the National Assembly. The bills are the County Government Grants Bill, Senate Bill number 35 of 2021. Number 2, the Mental Health Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 28 of 2021. The Basic Education Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 4 of 2021. The County Licensing Uniform Procedures Bill, Senate Bill number 32 of 2021. And the Salaries and Remuneration Commission Amendment Bill, Senate Bill number 31 of 2021. Madam Speaker, looking forward, the interest of the Senate is still high. There are now 9 bills at the Committee of the Whole stage and 22 bills at the second reading. These bills are allocated slots in the weekly program of Senate business that is circulated every Friday. I urge respective movers to be on the lookout so as to know when the bills are scheduled on the order paper and to be available in the Senate for debate on the bills. Standing committees to which bills are referred are encouraged to expedite consideration and table reports thereon. Committee chairpersons and individual senators proposing amendments are likewise encouraged to be available in the chamber to move the same at the Committee of the Whole stage. Madam Speaker, on Tuesday, 21st September 2021, the Senate Business Committee will meet to consider and approve the business of the week. On that day, subject to approval by the committee, the Senate will consider bills at the second reading stage, bills at the Committee of the Whole stage, and motions on reports filed by select committees. On Wednesday, 22nd, and on Thursday, 23rd September 2021, the Senate will consider business that will not be concluded on Tuesday, 21st, and Wednesday, 22nd September 2021, respectively, and any other business scheduled by the Senate Business Committee, including petitions and statements. Madam Speaker, as indicated at order number 9, 10, and 11 in today's order paper, there are motions for reconstitution of membership of Select Committee. Without preempting debate on the substantive motions, the proposed changes are aimed at enhancing efficiency and effectiveness in committee business, and I urge honorable senators to consider these when making their contributions, since a large percentage of our work is done in committees. Madam Speaker, I thank you and hereby lay the statement on the table of the Senate. I thank you.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion, approval of Senator John Kenyu Nderitu, MP, to serve in the Speaker's panel and preside over the Senate in the absence of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to move the motion approval of Senator John Kenyu Nderitu, MP, to serve in the Speaker's panel and preside over the Senate in the absence of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. That pursuant to Standing Order 17, the Senate approves the nomination of Senator John Nderitu Kenyu, MP, as a member of the Speaker's panel, and further to be elected to preside over the Senate in the absence of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker pursuant to Article 1071C of the Constitution and Standing Order 15 of the Senate. Madam Speaker, I think I don't have to delve so much on this matter. Madam Speaker, we are replacing Senator Mwaura, who is actually not in the chamber because of the matters that transpired, so as to have somebody to actually represent his, to sit on his behalf. This is the reason why the House decided to elect Senator John Kenyu to take over that position to enable the House to proceed with its proceedings without any challenges. So I move, Madam Speaker. I thank you, and I'll request the Senator, Minority Leader Senator Orengo, to second. I thank you.
Madam Speaker, for the reasons that have been explained by the Majority Leader, I second.
Thank you, Senator. I propose the question that pursuant to Standing Order 17, the Senate approves the nomination of Senator John Kenyu Nderitu, MP, as a member of the Speaker's panel and further to be elected to preside over the Senate in the absence of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker pursuant to Article 107(1)(c) of the Constitution and Standing Order 15 of the Senate. What's the point of order?
We're discussing a substantive matter of rearranging of committees here and Speaker's panel. The House has no quorum. So it will not be proper to discuss matters as this serious at this time.
Senator Dulo.
Madam Speaker, of course, I'm not disputing the position raised by Senator Mahmoud. I'm sure there are some members who could be online. We can allow the motion to proceed, but we can push the debate. It's by acclamation. But I'm requesting putting of the question to be done the next day of the sitting. I thank you.
Honorable Senators, the most important thing we should do is just to determine whether we have quorum or not. This is not an issue for debate here. So we can do that in the meantime. Whips. Do we have the whips here? And then online, we can check online. Quorum, so we can continue. So, is there, I don't see any interest, so I put the question. Honorable Senators, I put the question that pursuant to Standing Order 17, the Senate approves the nomination of Senator John Kinyu Andiritu, MP, as a member of the Speaker's panel, and further to be elected to preside over the Senate in the absence of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker pursuant to Article 107(1)(c) of the Constitution and Standing Order 15 of the Senate. And this does not concern the county, so I will put the question. May as many as are of the opinion say aye. Aye. And those of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, approval of senators to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the motion that notwithstanding the resolution of the Senate made on 14th February 2018 and 24th June 2020 on the approval of senators to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges and pursuant to Section 15(1) B2 of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act and Standing Order 189, the Senate approves the following senators nominated to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges. Number 1, Senator Canon Naomi Wako, MP, to replace Senator Dr. Alice Milgo, MP. Number 2, Senator Christine Zawadi Gona, MP, to replace Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH MP. And finally, Senator Abdul Kadir Mohamed Haji, MP, to replace Senator Kimani Wamatangi. Madam Speaker, without spending a lot of time, I've explained in the Majority Leader's statement. The reason is very clear. So I move the motion and I'll request Senator James Orengo to second. I thank.
Madam Speaker, again, for the reasons stated, I do second the motion.
Thank you, Senior Senator. I propose the question that notwithstanding the resolution of the Senate made on the 14th February 2018 and 24th June 2020 on the approval of senators to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges, and pursuant to Section 15(1)(b)(2) of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, the Standing Order 189, the Senate approves the following senators nominated to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges. Number 1, Senator Canon Naomi Wako, MP, to replace Senator Dr. Alice Milgo, MP. 2, Senator Christine Zawadi Gona, MP, to replace Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH, MP. And 3, Senator Haji Abdul Mohamed, MP, to replace Senator Kimani Wamatangi, MP. Honorable Senators, I don't see any interest, so I will go ahead and put the question. Honorable Senators, I put a question which is that notwithstanding the resolution of the Senate made on the 14th February 2018 and 24th June 2020 on the approval of senators to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges, and pursuant to Section 15(1)(b)(2) of the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, the Standing Order 189, the Senate approves the following senators nominated to serve in the Committee of Powers and Privileges. 1, Senator Canon Naomi Wako, MP, to replace Senator Dr. Alice Milgo, MP. 2, Senator Christine Zawadi Gona, MP, to replace Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH, MP. And 3, Senator Haji Abdul Mohamed, MP, to replace Senator Kimani Wamatangi, MP. Thank you, Senators. Next order. Oh, sorry. As many as are of the opinion say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion say nay. Nay. The nays have it. Next order.
We are on order number 9. That's what we are.
Order number 10. Motion, approval of Senator Professor Samson Ongeri.
Honorable Senators, let's have some order.
Order number 10, motion, approval of Senator Professor Samson Ongeri, EGH, MP, to serve in the Sessional Committee on Delegated Legislation.
Majority Leader.
Sir.
Senator Senior.
Madam Speaker, I can hear what Senator Cheregai is saying. He's come here with a hatchet. But, Madam Speaker, I think to be realistic, during the day, I was not quite satisfied that we are all reading from the same script on the question of the reconstitution of these committees. And therefore, instead of just proceeding and knowing the likely outcome, I stand under Standing Order number 105, paragraph 1, and move that order number 10 and 11 be deferred, debate be deferred on those two orders. And if that happens, Madam Speaker, I would suggest that before we bring this motion to the House, the two motions, we have Kamkuji the earliest part of next week, so that there's general agreement. My position normally is that the constitutional committees is a mandate of the House. And if the House is not in agreement, then it cannot really be called a committee of the House. So Madam Speaker, I do move and ask for a volunteer to second.
It is after. Okay. Honorable Senators, I understand the request by the Majority Leader, but according to Standing Order number 105, the adjournment or debate should be made after the motion has been read and seconded, and then thereafter we can.
It would be really an exercise in futility if the Majority Leader would, move somebody seconds, then in the next order we follow. I ask you then to use Standing Order number 1 to defer debate on those two orders, and that we come on for a Kamkunji on Tuesday to resolve this issue.
Yeah, Honorable Senators, whichever way it was still going to bring us to the same. So I would use my discretion to suspend the two, that is number 10, to defer 10 and 11 for next time they are listed. So we move on to the next order.
Order number 12, the Law of Succession Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 15 of 2021, second reading.
I don't see Senator Halake in the House. Next order. So that one is deferred.
Order number 13, the Public-Private Partnership Bill, National Assembly Bills number 6 of 2021.
Senator Majority Leader, that is on the second reading. Majority Leader, are you ready to move that one? Number 13. You are not ready? So we defer it also. Next order.
Order number 14, the County Hall of Fame Bill, Senate Bills number 9 of 2021, second reading.
Is Senator Murkomen in the House? He was around, but I don't see him, so we defer that one also. Next order.
Order number 15, the Disaster Risk Management Bill, Senate Bills number 14 of 2021, second reading.
That one is Senator Sekaja. Are you ready to move forward? Okay. So Senator Sakaja.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm always ready. I didn't think it would come today, but this being a bill that I sponsored jointly with Senator Mutula, I am able to move it. So, Madam Speaker, I beg to move, Madam Speaker, that the Disaster Risk Management Bill of 2021 be read a second time. Madam Speaker, this bill is a very important bill. This is one of the bills, Madam Speaker, that this House had already passed. And subject, or rather subsequent to the court ruling, the ruling which was made in favor of the Senate, then this bill was one of those that had to be republished. But we had already passed it as a Senate, and this bill had gone on transmission to the National Assembly. Madam Speaker, really, the reasoning behind this bill, or the purpose of this bill, is to establish a model, or rather a system through which we can manage the disasters in this country. Madam Speaker, this is to establish the National Disaster Risk Management Authority and County Disaster Risk Management Committees to provide for a legal framework, Madam Speaker, for the coordination of disaster risk management activities and for connected purposes. And Madam Speaker, I will urge members to really go through. The bill is available on the devices, and any member can be able to access it. Very quickly, Madam Speaker, I think we all know what has been happening across the country. And I'll give really an example. In Nairobi, every so often, every 2 weeks, every month, there is a fire. There is some form of disaster or another. We had a building collapse recently. We've had, workers at a construction site where an entire crane, fell and killed a few people just on the day when we were having this funeral service for Senator Prengei. And it's almost become a norm. Madam Speaker, in fact, I at some point said I've stopped going to Gikomba because every so often we go there, we make huge statements, but there is no authority that really can follow up the arson in Gikomba market. Madam Speaker, it has been a pain to me as a senator for Nairobi that, property worth millions, lives are at risk, property is lost every so often when a disaster strikes. Yet there is no model or framework through which it can be, dealt with. Just the other day, Madam Speaker, there was a fire in Westlands, in Kibagare. And it's just because I was able to pick up my phone and call the relevant authority, the people on the ground didn't know who to call. It cannot be then that we respond to disasters based on who knows the senator, or who knows the governor, or who knows the CEC. There must be a number and there must be a hotline. Madam Speaker, I remember very well, while we were doing this bill, at some point, the Senate Security Committee, that time I was rather the deputy chair, but I was holding fort for Senator Yusuf Haji, and we looked at British Columbia and Vancouver, and the model through which they manage their disasters and their hotlines, and the response time of less than 3 minutes to any disaster. A lot of lives that we have lost in Nairobi City could have been saved if we had a proper framework for disaster management. A lot of property that has gone up, and many of us, Madam Speaker, in our culture, many people don't insure their property. Madam Speaker, a lot of property could be saved. Incidentally, and I'm confident enough to say this, and I will not shy out of it because it might be a bit political. When I've done investigations on a lot of the fires in Gikomba, Madam Speaker, those fires have been caused by 3 reasons. The first reason, Madam Speaker, is people who've been prospecting for that land. And we've made pronouncements that that is public land, the entire 12 acres. No one should think that you'll ban and move the traders away. But the second 2 reasons, Madam Speaker, are the ones which are much more disturbing. There's a section of certain traders, Madam Speaker, and we know some of them, and we've raised this issue severally, who, when the insurance is about to run out, they cause a fire so that they can claim insurance when their stock is about to run out, yet they're jeopardizing the livelihoods of many, many more other traders. And that's why I'm not afraid to say it. Finally, Madam Speaker, there's been accident, either electrical fault. We have these ladies, the mamas who cook githeri, and the githeri is burning overnight, and sometimes we have our street boys who are enjoying the fire, and maybe some sparks fly, and that has been another reason. But Madam Speaker, the second reason of insurance-based arson, as well as the reason of land prospecting, Madam Speaker, really needs to be dealt with. So, Madam Speaker, this bill wants to ensure that, number one, there is coordination between the national government and the county governments when it comes to dealing with disaster. In many counties don't have the capacity that Nairobi has. And even Nairobi, despite having the biggest capacity, has not been doing well in managing disaster. Madam Speaker, we've proposed in many parts of this city, first of all, fire stations. Land has been grabbed where fire stations are supposed to be. Madam Speaker, people have built and encroached on the paths through which even a truck would come and bring relief or rescue the situation when there's been a disaster. Madam Speaker, there were some small buggies that I think Governor Kidero had bought, which were small quad bikes with water that would be able to go inside Gikomba, inside these markets when there's a disaster. But Madam Speaker, as the story been in many issues in my county of Nairobi, they disappeared. We don't know where they are. They're not being used. We used to have fire hydrants in this city. The fire hydrants, the red posts are along the streets, where in case of a disaster, because you call the fire engine, and once you've called the fire engine, they come and they say either they come without water, or they come and they quickly run out of water. There are many times Nairobians have almost lynched these people and sent them away. Because why would you come to the site of a disaster, a fire, without water, Madam Speaker? So we want to make sure that there is coordination of disaster risk management issues for national and county, and especially for counties that might not have the capacity. In the 4th schedule, Madam Speaker, disaster management is actually a concurrent function of both the national and the county level. And there could be national disasters that are beyond the scope of one county. For instance, if a disaster is between the county of Laikipia, Samburu, and Nyeri County, Madam Speaker, for instance, then that is dealt with jointly through the disaster coordination committees at the county, as well as the National Disaster Management Authority, because it's a shared function according to the 4th schedule. Madam Speaker, so we propose to bring together the National Disaster Operations Center that exists, the National Disaster Management Unit that is in existence, and the Department of Special Programs under the auspices of the proposed National Disaster Risk Management Authority. So we're not creating necessarily a new body. We have enough institutions. But you're bringing together institutions that for a long time have been, too uncoordinated. The left doesn't know what the right is doing. Madam Speaker, you remember when the building collapsed in Huruma? And that time I was not the senator, but I went there and I spent 3 nights, Madam Speaker. I think 2 or 3 nights. I didn't leave the site. You remember? Throughout that time, Madam Speaker, I was so sad. The machines that I used to cut, because people were trapped in those buildings, to cut the steel bars, I, as a citizen, had to buy, yet I had military officers there, and NYS headquarters is so close. But they said because of the bureaucracy, they cannot get someone to approve a voucher to do what, so I had to buy that. The fuel, to fuel the generators, for those who are going into search, I had to do it personally as an individual. Madam Speaker, additionally, even getting milk and bread for those who are doing the rescue efforts, who are private citizens, had to be done by well-wishers. And I'm very grateful for many of my friends who came together, because when I had it, I just got into my car, went to a petrol station, filled it with milk and bread, and asked people to send, and they kept sending. The goodwill of the people of Nairobi is what has helped us survive in many of these disasters. We were standing there. I remember Mr. Kigotho, who was in charge of disaster then. His hands are tied. He wants to do one thing, the military want to do something different. Yeah? They want to do another thing, the NYS are trying to do something different. And that lack of coordination cost us lives. I remember painfully carrying bodies of dead children who did not deserve to die. So what we're trying to do, together with my brother Senator Mutula, is to first bring all of these units under one command of the National Disaster Management Risk Authority. And they will respond to many different disasters. Madam Speaker, even a terrorist attack can be seen as a disaster, because it has just happened. By the time it has happened, that authority must get wind of it, and they'll know now which agency is best suited to respond. Again, during the Westgate attack, and at that time I remember I was the patron of the National Gun Owners Association. It was a Saturday. At the range where we train civilian gun holders, I had just landed, I remember, from China. At the range where we were training them, the civilians were able to leave, because we trained with the GSU, the Recce squad. The civilians were able to leave and go to Westgate to start saving. And that's why I remember our Senator, Haji, the junior, he came out distinguished, trying to save lives. But Madam Speaker, the best qualified response team we have in Kenya, Recce squad, could not leave because of the chain of command and instructions to be released. That was the first disaster. But the second issue, what happened? A friend of ours, my friend Munene, who was an officer, was actually killed by friendly fire from another unit of our defense forces, Madam Speaker. That a GSU officer was killed by the military because of lack of coordination, because their signals are different. And I'm very glad that the president, and I really thank President Uhuru Kenyatta, because he's really supported our officers, was able now to have what we call joint command in the case of such. And that's why you saw when Dusit happened, the response was a bit different. I remember that time Governor Lenku talking about mattresses, I don't know what. It was a mess. It was a mess because of lack of coordination. So the main premise of this bill then is to approach disaster risk management in a manner that seeks first to respond effectively and in a timely manner to any disaster or risk of disaster. Second, also to prevent the adverse effects of disaster and recover as far as may be possible the livelihood of communities affected by a disaster. Many lives change, things are never the same after many of these disasters. And so I urge members to really support it. Enactment of this law, Madam Speaker, will assist in this efficient and effective management of disasters across the country. And if you go through the bill, Madam Speaker, part 1 is just the preliminary provisions where we've done definitions, Madam Speaker. We've defined different terms that we use, and then we've established this authority that then is the national coordination. And so in the county, Madam Speaker, we will have county disaster risk management committees where we have the leadership of the county together with those professionals who are required, and I will go through the clause that provides for that, so that there can be better coordination. So it's not just the CEC or the governor who is dealing with that, but you have the county, you also have the county commissioner, the national government, part of it, because many times the lack of coordination is between the county government and the national government at the same place. So you have a regional commissioner, or in the case of Nairobi, your county commissioner in your county, who is trying to head west, yet the county CEC of disaster, or the chief officer of disaster, is heading east. causing more problems, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we've established, of course, that as a focal point for coordination, and that focal point then coordinates with the national authority. A lot of the things that we seek to do include early warning signals. Madam Speaker, many disasters, including environmental disasters, early warning will help. When we were in the committee that dealt with the Solai tragedy, it is very sad that warnings had been given in advance on the matter of Solai, that this dam is going to burst its banks. But because there was no entity to which, you would say the buck stops when it comes to this, whether it is WARMA, the Water Resource Management Authority, or is it NEMA, or is it the county government, what happens is the classic case of there was something that anybody could do. But nobody did it because everybody thought somebody would do it. At the end of the day, nobody ended up doing it. And we lost lives. 49 children, Madam Speaker, died because of lack of such an entity. And that's why you need early warning signals. It is not lost upon us, Madam Speaker, the counties where we come from, where you come from, around the lake, the flooding that happens every year, in Budalangi, the flooding that happens, I think, when Nyando bursts its banks, if I'm not wrong, River Nyando. There must be something that and I said earlier, insanity is doing the same thing every day, repeatedly, and expecting different results. So we need those early warning signals. And for us also to understand where are these hotspots. Madam Speaker, I can give you an example. In Nairobi, apart from the markets of Gikomba and some of the trade areas, one constituency that always has fire is Mathare constituency. We know it. We've told Kenya Power, and I remember going to Kenya Power, Senator, telling the management, please, come with us. Let us make sure there are safe connections. Because it is power connections. If you're charging people so much, they will take power for themselves. And you cannot let that vehicle will not enter Mathare unless it's accompanied by leaders. You remember Honorable Ndolo of the famous quote of Ukiona Wao. And he said weka tire, but he said in quotes, Madam Speaker, he meant when you see them and they have a puncture, help them by putting a tire. Of course, we know that's not what he meant. But Madam Speaker, that is what's happening in my county. Because of the high cost of living, and I've just explained today from Korogosho, where I've come and I walked through Kariobangi, they're just saying, mafuta, fuel is too high. So because of that, people then get these illegal connections, and the tap electricity itself is very dangerous. But because of the load of that electricity, sometimes they even go into three-phase to go into the Mabati structures. There is a fire almost every 2 weeks. You can ask Honorable Loch, he'll tell you. And so as leaders, instead of always responding to these fires to look good, taking iron, galvanized sheets, taking wood for them to construct, Madam Speaker, this is a solution that then will outlast. Because we don't want to be ambulance chasers. That every time, yesterday there was a fire in Gatina, in Kawangware, and I've seen leaders went there today. We thank those leaders. Yeah, I saw His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi went there, he's given some support. Thank you. But that is not sustainable. We can't keep doing that. Madam Speaker, we can't keep going and speaking angrily that something must be done about Gikomba, something must be done about Westland, something must be done about Mathare. This is what must be done. Creating that coordination with the early warning signals. For us, okay, so we know then this place is a hotspot because of power. Let us address that issue. We know this other area of the industries is a hotspot because of the kind of effluent that they are releasing. Let's deal with that issue. Then we will have a coordinated way of dealing with disasters in this country. Madam Speaker, we also provide for a fund. Madam Speaker, this provision, we've put it in such a way that it's not a money bill, because it's a provision on the establishment and objectives of what that fund will be. Then it gives power under the PFM, which is passed by the National Assembly, for then the Cabinet Secretary to do it. So in effect, we're not necessarily creating the fund here, but we're providing the framework through which that can be created, because we will need to resource disaster risk management. Madam Speaker, a county like Tana River, and the Senator is here, might not have, they have a lot of disaster, along the Tana, but they may not have the resources as a county to necessarily deal with it every year. Otherwise, it will overshoot their budget at the county level. However, if you have this fund where there's sharing between the national government, the county government, also, Madam Speaker, even well-wishers who want to come and support, instead of trying to everyone bring your fire engines and whatnot, support that disaster management fund. There can be hotlines, we can have call centers where our young people can volunteer and be picking up those calls. So that when there's anything that happens in any part of the city or of the country, then there is quick response from this management authority. There are also penalties and of offenses under this bill. Madam Speaker, one of the entities that we said we're putting here is that Department of Special Programs. I don't know if you've had to deal with them. Madam Speaker, many times when I've had these issues in Nairobi, I have to go and, many times I've asked, you write a letter, and they used to be very cooperative. I don't know what's happened to them these days, unless something happened. And ask them for some flour, some maize, some rice, sometimes some building materials. And if you're lucky, and if they like you, maybe, they might give you some of these supplies. If they don't, they will take you around in circles and end up doing nothing. Madam Speaker, it cannot be that subjective, that any elected leader, or it depends on which side you are for you as an elected leader to go. Many people have come to ask me, please help me to get these supplies for my county. And I feel very bad that why am I able to go there, yet Senator Nyamunga, you're not able to. Or another senator. It must not be subjective. It must be very objective. In the case of a disaster, this is the kind of response we require, this is how much we're able to give, this is the formula we use. Recently, I had a fire in Kamkunji. And again, I thank PS Kibicho and CS Matiang'i, because immediately I got in touch with them. They were able to tell me, okay, this is what we can do. I got the Honorable Yusuf, who is one of the most cooperative leaders in Nairobi. And quickly, I sent him there with resources. We gave the people something. We told them pole, and we built for them. As much as it works, it is not sustainable. That's why you have the rule of law, more than the rule of man. So today, if you don't like Senator Orengo and there's a disaster in Siaya, you just tell him, well, don't worry, tell the county commissioner to write to us. But if you like Senator Wario, then you help him. It cannot be like that. I think that discretion is wrong. But also it has led to a lot of corruption. Because when there is a lack of a proper system of accountability and who deals with this disaster, we find sometimes chiefs in some areas have been given maize or beans or supplies. Those supplies disappear. Or you find someone has been told to go buy msumari and, nails for traders to build. They go and collude with the hardware owners. That has been happening, and I've seen it. I'm not saying anywhere, I'm not pointing names, but if they're listening, they know themselves. So with this will be the end of that, because there will be accountability, there will be a repository or even stores to store some of these things so that we can help our people get back to their feet after a disaster. Madam Speaker, so those provisions have been provided, and offenses and penalties for anybody who, number one, misuses that fund. Number two, anybody who knowingly, for instance, some people can do prank calls. When we were children in Nairobi, we used to tap the phones. And you tap and you find you've called someone, you call 999 and tell the police that this and this has happened. Or you tell the fire engine, this and this has happened, yet it has not happened. So if you're caught also lying, there must be a penalty. Because imagine deploying 10 trucks to go all the way to the site of a disaster, yet there is nothing. And then there's an actual disaster elsewhere. You might actually cost lives of people. So we've given legislative powers that we've delegated to the Cabinet Secretary responsible for matters related to this disaster risk management. As it is, that is most likely the Minister for Devolution or Interior, actually, because some of these entities, and that was the problem. You find one entity is under this ministry, another NDOC is under another ministry, the Disaster Management Unit is another ministry. So it will be all under one minister who can be able to deal with that and to make sure that staffing is done. Of course, in the transitional provisions, we also provide for the transition. I remember the other bill I had done. You remember the first time we did one on National Employment Authority. The president sent it back, and I was very hurt. I thought he didn't like it. But he said, no, there already exists the bureau, so you must provide a transitional clause of how these people move from this bureau where they are now at the Ministry of Labor to the National Employment Authority. So this time round, I don't want him to return this bill, and so we provided for that transitional provision of how these people can be able to move to the new institution. Madam Speaker, of course, this concerns county governments, and it actually affects the functions, powers, and finances of the county, and we have noted that in this bill. But enactment of it, and why we said it's not a money bill, will not occasion additional expenditure to the public. Madam Speaker, I know I have a lot of time, and I will go on. So that when we come back, I think it can be. I'll continue moving, so that I can be seconded by Senator Mutula. I know he'll really want to second this, and so I will proceed. Madam Speaker, of course, it's a body corporate. It's capable of suing and being sued, and purchasing. supposed to be done from? What has happened? It's been taken. Even this fire station in Nairobi town was at risk. Imagine the audacity. It's like trying to grab KCC, which incidentally had also been grabbed. You know, the fire station in town was at risk of being grabbed. In Eastlands, there are so many spots, and I know, which are a threat, and some have actually been grabbed. So the first thing is to reclaim all of these properties and equipment that is necessary for doing that. So the authority, number one, will adopt a coordinated interagency and interministerial approach in disaster prevention, mitigation, response, and recovery activities. Will be the central national agency in implementing these activities, of course, sets the policy. They will advise continuously the national and county government on management measures of disaster risk, which is extremely important for them to get that advice. They'll develop, update, and coordinate implementation of the management strategy, the management plan that each county must develop and then bring to the disaster management authority at the national level. Of course, and this was very specific when you put it, to collate in coordination with the Bureau of Statistics, to coordinate, collect, review, and analyze disaggregated information relevant to disaster risk management. This includes population data, the household data. Our census even tells us what kind of firewood people use, whether it is firewood or gas or whatnot. So based on that, they can be able to actually map out some of these hotspots when it comes to disaster. Madam Speaker, of course, formulate, establish, and implement a national early warning and emergency communication system. And that emergency communication system must be toll-free. You know, you cannot charge people to actually make a phone call when there is a disaster or to pass that message. It must be toll-free, Madam Speaker. And of course, public awareness campaigns. We used to have them years ago as I grew up in this city, where we'd be told what to do in case of a fire. Yeah? Fire drills used to be conducted. These days, people don't know what to do. What happens in case of a terrorist attack? 9/11 was commemorated yesterday, and I was watching a serious documentary on 9/11 on how people had to be taught after that in case of this, either you go down, you go under a table, how do you get out? Because some people will die because of stampedes in the case of a disaster. We need to create public awareness to our people to let them know through civic education. Of course, we must monitor, evaluate, and document lessons learned from the handling of disasters. The file on Solar is this big, but it's in Mutula's office only. Yeah? I don't know if the county government has seen what to learn, whether Warma has looked at it to see this is what happened. Because it's this thick, we went through all of those things, and we know what happened and what was the problem. But we must document lessons learned. We must learn to be a country that takes documentation importantly. Madam Speaker, of course, to promote linkages with key ministries, community service organizations, international organizations, county, sub-county, and community-based disaster risk management entities, and coordinate preparation and maintenance of atlases, including data banks and information on potential hazards and vulnerabilities. Madam Speaker, also to lead and coordinate routine hazard identification and vulnerability and risk assessments in all sectors, and to have these early warning systems at the national level. So, Madam Speaker, there are many functions and roles that this authority is going to have, including structural and non-structural mitigation measures in all sectors. For instance, if you're dealing with people in the solar area, people who are in industry, there's what you need to tell them vis-a-vis people in the transport sector. The transport sector needs to look at disaster in a different manner. Those who are in, for instance, mining, yeah, we've had people who mines have collapsed around the country. They need to be given different disaster awareness. So it'll be sector-based across the country. And we must have guidelines for participation in county, national, regional, international disaster management activities. We can have international disasters between our countries. How do we deal with those? Of course, to coordinate resource mobilization, strategies, training, etc. And I'll ask members to go through this bill. It has all of those provisions. Madam Speaker, without going further, because I think I should actually just move, and then it can be seconded when we come back, I think, or maintain a few more minutes. Really, this will go. This is one of those bills or laws that will change how things are being done and directly affect the lives of Kenyans. So, Madam Speaker, with that, I wish to move that the bill be read a second time, and I'll ask Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. To second.
You will not need to continue. You finished, and Senator Mutula will just, because you have a balance of 33 minutes.
Okay, so Madam Speaker, I will continue. I have not moved. I will continue, okay, so that even Mutula can get the warmth of the flow as he's seconding. But he's very well versed. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
So you'll have a balance of 33 minutes. Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m., time to adjourn the House. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until Tuesday, 21st September 2021 at 2:30 p.m.